So here we are. We're recording.
Hello.
Every time, every time we have a conversation, we should just have something recording us because I just love it. I just love it. And I find it so life-giving. And we're getting feedback from others too, Janine, that people are enjoying what they're hearing and it resonates with them too. Today
I'm
we did a
excited.
beautiful breath work
Mhm.
about rest, and we had a really good conversation after the breath work with some of the participants that were there. And we were just in flow, so we decided to record our podcast. So,
Yeah,
what's the flow?
I know, right?
What should we highlight? What should we
Oh,
talk about? Because we've talked a lot about so many different things already. Should we keep the topic on rest? How to enter
let's
in?
start there because it still leads into all the rest. Yeah.
So much. Yeah.
Mhm.
One of the participants today was talking about how difficult it is to sit still. And, I really resonate with that because even now, sitting still is not an easy thing for me. I still fidget. Um, when I'm, quote, meditating, if I'm not doing breath work, if I don't focus on the breath, I completely get off track and my mind wanders and I just need to move. My body moves. But we talked about that a little bit about being naked and not ashamed. And so I've learned to just witness my body, witness my mind, witness when I fidget and whatever else arises with that. And being that observer and from that space, living in the kingdom and allowing myself to be naked and letting go of any kind of shame or guilt or condemnation that would have really held me back in the past. And by letting myself off the hook in that way, by letting myself be free and just naked, I have actually experienced a level of rest that continues to expand, but I only, I don't even think I could have imagined it before. I don't think I
Yeah.
could have imagined that level of rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I totally could not. I could not have imagined living my life like this.
Hmm.
There's no way, that just when she spoke of um not being able to sit still. You know, for me, it was the finding myself standing at the kitchen sink and all I'm doing is the dishes.
Hmm.
And yet my buttocks were clenched and my body was armored as if I was waiting for someone to attack me.
Hmm.
Um, and I was alone in the kitchen doing dishes.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, gosh, I would try to loosen my body up. And back then I couldn't really even do it. It would
Yeah.
it would clench back up really quickly.
Hmm.
I could not imagine this life where I am at least far more aware. If my body tenses up, I feel it, I notice it, and okay, we're going to relax and
Yeah.
just let go of that. Just breathe.
Hmm.
It's
And
such a
that's
gift.
a beautiful way to be able to partner with what's moving through you, right? Being in the breath, being in the present moment, being aware, and you can partner with whatever it is that's moving through you. There are times, though, where you may feel something, let's just say physically, a sensation, a heaviness, for example, and you don't really know what's going on. You're not really tuned
Hmm.
into the reason or the purpose or why you're aware of it. You don't even know why you're aware of it, but you're aware of something. You can feel it, you can sense it. And the busier we get, the easier it is to tune out, tune that out. So we can
Exactly.
occupy our minds, our bodies, we can shove that away. But there's really such a richness that can be waiting if we can take that moment to bring our awareness to that spot whatever, wherever it is. Maybe it's a non-physical sensation. Maybe it is a physical sensation, but it's just your awareness seems to be, maybe it's a tightness, right? Maybe it's even like where you're clenched up. And if you can breathe and if you can soften it, right? That's beautiful.
Mhm.
But sometimes it's like it doesn't want to let go. Some things might be there and they're doing something that you're not aware of. And I think
Right.
it's in those times that we can bring our minds in a place to serve our bodies. We can allow our minds to serve the body by saying, "Oh, body, I see that this is happening. I see that you're really tense right there. I see that it feels very uncomfortable, maybe even on the verge of pain, or it could be just outright pain. I see that. I see that, but I'm with you." And we are
Hmm.
going to trust the Holy Spirit to do whatever it is that needs to be done on whatever realm,
Exactly.
in whatever dimension that that might be hooked up to. Maybe it's something that's genetic. Maybe it's something that's generational. Maybe it's something that has to do with your boss. Whatever it is. And you
Yeah.
don't have to know. You don't have to know. That understanding does come because we reflect, we look back, and then understanding um, fills in that gap for us eventually. And
Later on.
sometimes maybe not, but eventually we will come to a place where it will make sense.
Yeah. And the
Yeah.
beauty is that when that understanding comes from that way, it is anchored in the experiential knowing that you've had in the meantime, just sitting in that knowing. And then eventually, sometimes, like you said, not always, the lights come on and you're like, oh,
Hmm.
that was for me. That's what was happening. And that was for me,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, because
Yeah.
we are building that trust that what we've heard our whole lives, he works all things for good. Everything is, if he is for you, who can be against you? But we're putting flesh to that. We're experientially
Right.
walking that out now.
Yeah. And we're
Yeah,
integrating that truth into these physical bodies. And sometimes that does feel
exactly.
uncomfortable. This is the
It
redemption of the
does.
body. And so, yes, be wise and get checked out and make sure you have the support that you need through, a medical practitioner, doctor, whatever it is, whatever you need. Make sure that's in place for you. But at the same time, you can look at it from God's perspective. These things that affect us physically take the longest to bear fruit, to come into alignment, realignment with the truth of God, because we're so dense. This
That's
material.
exactly it. This
Mhm,
body, these are, they're beautiful, but these are denser, lower frequencies.
mhm,
We have the energetic body or the biofield, as some refer to it. And then when you go into that, you can get deeper and deeper into the fact that there are layers, which are multiple bodies within the
right.
aura. But
Yes.
the energetic field, what's happening here in these bodies, shows up last here because this
Yes.
is the densest, slowest energy. And so we
Yes.
do have to just sit with patience and let her have her perfect work
Yeah.
because it's happening, but it's going to move a lot slower.
Yeah. And a lot of
That's one of
times
the
when,
places that's been really helpful to me. I'm sorry, just
you know,
the learning not to judge what I'm feeling,
yeah.
learning to just be neutral about it and sit with Father on whatever symptoms I'm physically feeling. Because when I'm aware of His presence, I'm no
Yeah.
longer afraid of this thing. It might be
Mm,
uncomfortable, but it's not scary
yeah.
because it's not like He's looked away. He's right here, you know?
Yes.
And so then what are we doing? What is going on? But I never even knew to ask those questions before. We were
Mhm.
taught if you feel X, it means these things are going to happen as a result of that, instead of, oh, okay, well, I feel that sensation, but if I don't judge it, if I don't automatically load the program that says this means that, I can sit with Father and hear him go, yep, we're working something out and it's okay.
And even when that program gets launched without your awareness, without your knowing it, and maybe you feel like you're hijacked by that program of death, because that's what it is, because we're
Yeah.
either in life or in death. Um, Even then, when you do get the awareness, but your body still feels it, your body still feels the fear, your gut still is wrenched, and your heart might be racing, and
Hmm.
maybe you still have the symptoms of a certain particular dis-ease, and it's frustrating because we want it to happen right now, right now, right now, which
Yeah,
from the God's perspective, it is right now. It's always right now, and it's
exactly.
done. But it takes that time in this realm
Yeah,
for that to sink in and integrate and
yeah,
become one with the eternity that's written in your heart. There's this realigning that happens in all these different levels of our being, and it takes the longest in the physical. So, the more that we can stay in life with our mind, with our attitude, more that we can stay in that expansive kingdom of God, knowing that we're supported and continually coming together with like minded individuals like we do in our community who remind us over and over again, wait a minute, it's okay, you're okay. God's here. You just forgot. You just don't see him. You just don't recognize him. He's
yeah,
knocking, and it's okay. You might feel these things, but let's step back. Let's go back up into that place where we can observe our bodies, observe these symptoms, observe the fear, the panic, our nervous system, our little ones inside who are stuck,
yeah,
the mind, whatever it is, we can just hold it all in that space.
yeah,
I'm not going to say easier it is because it doesn't necessarily feel easy when you get hijacked in that way, when you get pounced on. But the distance between you and that one who does the pouncing, who is yourself,
is greater.
it's greater so that you can,
Yeah,
instead of feeling like, that serpent is right there holding that promise out to you and you have to dive in, he's way out there and like you can choose to engage or not engage. You have that
exactly.
space. Yeah.
It returns your free will to you
Yes.
because you're no longer being run by your nervous system.
Yeah.
You're now standing back and observing it
Mhm.
and recognizing that that is not the entirety of your being and you
Yeah.
are safe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
just
love it.
that space. And that isn't that beautiful because when we look at the word holy, and we've talked about these being our temples,
Hmm.
holy, one of the translations at the root of that is spaciousness,
Hmm.
actually
Wow.
room. It's
Hmm.
spaciousness. So
Hmm.
I've loved words my whole life. So the etymology is like speaking of geeking out. But
Yeah.
it definitely, I'm watching the connections in the words that we've heard in scripture to this time and what we're experiencing because we're experiencing it through breath work. People are experiencing it through many modalities out there.
Yeah.
It's just being poured out. The
Yeah.
spirit is pouring it out. And this capacity to step back, to remember who you are truly in spirit, one with Christ, and again, like you said, it might pounce on you at first and it takes a little bit to be like, oh yeah, wait a minute, hello.
Yeah.
Maybe so. That's okay. That's all
It's
part of the
all
process.
learning. It's all
It's
maturing.
beautiful watching this and seeing how exquisitely put together my personal process has been for me. All of
Yeah.
it, my whole life. What a gift it has actually been. That's been a
Yeah.
radical change in perspective. And I
Just for
think
you.
that
Yeah.
goes with the, yeah, that goes with moving into rest because
Yeah.
I wasn't able to rest when I was holding those moments of time in my body and thinking that was wrong, that was
Mm.
bad, that was not for me, you
Yeah.
know. Now this space of seeing everything for me,
Right. It's
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 got
a
so many
different
layers.
perspective because it's a different kingdom.
Hmm.
And so in that kingdom, you see things differently. And it's not always easy to get from that space of feeling stuck and feeling in the darkness, feeling your way around. But it is really that one breath that helps, that one revelation. Oh, wait, here. It's
Mhm.
okay. And I'm going to learn and I'm going to grow and I'm going to mature and I'm going to give myself the space to feel, to cry
Mhm.
if I have to cry. I'm going to give myself the freedom to let my
Exactly.
body tremble and shake. I'm going to give
Yes.
myself the freedom to pace if I have to. I'm going to give myself the freedom to have a smoke. I haven't smoked in decades, but
Hmm.
just saying, I know people who do, and they hide it, especially those in the church.
Hmm.
And I'm here to say, you know what? It's okay. It really is okay.
Yeah,
Whatever
it's
it
all okay.
is that your body has, habituated to, in order to find some kind of sense of peace, all you have to do is reframe it for the body. This is what we've done in the past, body. We've depended on these things to help us through these difficult times, but really this is just a provision made by God, and we don't need that. Yes, it helps, but we don't need that. And you just wean yourself, right? You grow up
Exactly.
and let
Exactly.
go of
Well,
those
and
things. Yeah.
I've even heard, just in the spirit and meditation, I was given the analogy or the metaphor. Hey, sorry, my mind will not get stuck there because I'm like, again, what is the
What
difference
is it?
between those? But anyway, sorry, whichever one you prefer. That we are these glorious expressions and we've been given this body. It is not who we are in our entirety. It is part of us because it's been
Yeah.
given to us and it's a
Yeah.
gift.
Hmm.
But it's kind of like being given a wild horse.
Yeah.
You have to
This is
work
the
with it.
manifestation that we're waiting for.
Yeah,
This is the manifestation of
exactly.
Christ in this realm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was just helpful to me to think of it almost like a wild horse because then I could be loving and I could work with
Yeah.
it and train, or like you said, align, just
Yep.
reframing it for the body. Because there are those times when a part of you is freaking out and
Yeah.
it doesn't do any good to try to mentally shut that down.
That's right.
It
You know,
does
I
nothing.
it's interesting that you view it as like a wild horse. I kind of just viewed it as like an animal or a beast, right? And I wonder if that's what the beast is in the kingdom, in the Garden of Eden. If it's that's the
Mhm.
serpent, that's the beast, right?
Mhm.
I am the serpent, I am the beast, and I embody that, but I also embody
Yeah.
Christ. So it's not up to me. I don't have to be engaged in warfare against myself, which is what I have been all of these years.
Exactly.
I've just been suffering the violence of me wanting to take the kingdom by forcing myself to do things that I'm supposed to be doing because I have this image of what it's like to be in the kingdom. And I have, well, I can't say I'm fully there. I'm learning to give myself that grace, that space to say, okay, this is just the beast part of me, just being what it's supposed to be, doing what it's supposed to do,
Exactly.
behaving exactly how it's supposed to behave. And I am just responsible to love it just as it is, as that observer
Yes.
Christ part of me does all the time from way
Yes.
up wherever or in wherever.
Yeah, we are in a massive transition, humanity is as a whole. And from what I have seen, this is just my perspective that I've seen in the spirit. Literally, we're evolving. I know that word can be a little triggering, but we're shifting from the beast space where it was about our brain stem and this nervous system that has kept us safe. And that
Mhm.
is beautiful. It is gorgeous. We are wonderfully made. This is where I always say, I realized and I felt spirit telling me we're still being created.
Yeah.
We all thought they said he created, put the ed on the end of that, and that was it. No, that
Mhm.
word is still unfolding. We are that word still unfolding
Yeah.
into the one new man. And this this part of it, I really feel so strongly. That's why I can see it globally because it's happening through all kinds of modalities, like I said.
Mhm.
And that makes sense because different parts of the one new man, different parts of the body of Christ are going to need different approaches and different things. We resonate with breath work. I'm passionately in love with breath work now. but
Yes.
someone else, their anchor may be something else.
Yes.
But it is humanity learning to shift from the way that our nervous system has historically served us to the
Hmm.
way that it's going to
Yeah.
serve us. And there is no right or wrong or bad or good, or we're just in a space of transitioning. And it's,
Yeah.
transition is messy.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Transformation, transition,
mm,
shifting, evolving, redemption,
exactly.
however,
Yeah.
whatever word we use,
Yeah.
it is the unfolding of what
It
has
is.
already been done.
It is.
And we are just observing it as it happens in real time. We are back when God's putting it all together, and we just watch it
Exactly.
all happen from this perspective right here, which is really a beautiful place to be.
Exactly. And it
Yeah.
is all initiated. I mean, you could even look at it that way. It is all initiated
Yep.
by that word,
Mhm.
the phrase, let there be light.
That's it.
It's still unfolding, but it is initiated by the spoken word of God,
Yep.
however you see them, source, God,
Yep.
mother, father, whatever
Yep.
fits. We can't contain them in just one word,
That's
but they
right.
contain us in their words. And
Yep.
their intentions are going to be, that's where we're going, is love's intentions. That's where we're
Yeah.
going.
Yeah. And so we can let go of all the ways that we've
Exactly.
tried to make things happen for us. We can let go. We can um, stop the striving and let go of the working. And it's not that we come into this comatose state of just, being like one of the rainbow bodies, one of those. Um, Google it. It's interesting. They these gurus and things. They actually their bodies physically. I guess their spirits are still there and haven't transitioned on, and they still, you know, anyway, that's kind of a funny trail. We still engage, we still interact, but from that perspective of being life-giving spirits, because that's what Jesus, when he was resurrected, he became a life-giving spirit, and
Yes,
that's because he's the firstborn from the dead, and we are like him, and we have the same inheritance as he does. We too are also born from the dead, yet we're still in that process of dying, right? But
exactly.
there's a lot of resurrection happening as well. There's a lot of renewing. There's a
Exactly.
lot of new life happening all at the same time, all at the same time in God's perfect timing and the way that it unfolds uniquely for you
Exactly.
and for me and for everybody else on the
And
planet.
that, yeah, and it takes us back to that space. We've all heard it 1,000 times, but we are literally fleshing out the scriptures now. We are embodying
Totally.
what was spoken. Trust the Lord with all your heart, open your heart chakra, open up,
Yeah.
be open to all of it,
Yeah.
stay present and breathe right here,
Yeah.
stay and play.
Yeah.
And do not lean on your own understanding. So when you hear the parts say, oh, this symptom means this,
Yeah.
that programming's obsolete. It's okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's totally okay that you feel that way. And I'm right here, but we're okay. We're
Yes.
going to be safe
That's
and
right.
we're held.
Yeah.
And this, father's right here, spirit's right here, whatever your parts need,
Hmm.
yeah,
Name your beast.
sorry. I had a funny moment the other day. We ended up listening to some music that we hadn't listened to in a very long time. And I realized that in my striving, because I do have a capacity to see ahead, and that has gotten me in trouble as I've been maturing and learning how to walk in that because I would see that. And then I have a very strong, I don't even know how you would phrase it, strong parts of me that want to go, I see that. So now I'm just going to be that and
Mm.
skip the whole process of
Mm.
allowing all of my parts to
Yeah.
transform, and
Yeah.
recognizing that the spirit initiates the movement. We do
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
This
You
is
hear
what
a voice
rest is all
behind you.
about.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like the
Yeah.
spirit initiates
Hmm.
everything. And I would catch myself initiating. Anyway, one of
Yeah.
the ways I initiated was parts of me couldn't listen to the old music anymore because
Hmm.
it didn't fit the message that I was preaching to myself.
Yeah.
And I was listening to it the other day, and I could just, the funny thing is, I could feel parts of me that were like, oh, we have needed to listen to this.
Oh,
Like
wow.
they couldn't even hear
Oh,
it before when I was listening to it because they were too shut down. And now they're like, I
yeah.
need this.
Oh,
Like just a
yeah.
shout out to Amanda Lindsay Cook. If anyone has
Mm,
ever heard Amanda Lindsay Cook, go listen to
wow.
her album
Mm,
House on a Hill.
wow.
Oh my gosh, like
Wow.
even just the song, I'm just saying. But that was just so beautiful to recognize. And then I also, at the same time, I realized, oh, there are layers of meaning in this song that are part of the spirit experience, things that I have now experienced, knowings that I've now embodied that I could hear in the song that I could not hear before.
Right,
Like I
right.
just there's something so cool about that. Does that make sense? I'm sorry, I'm geeking a
Yeah,
little
no, it
bit.
totally makes sense. But that's the thing, like we're not aware of what we have available to us until
Yeah.
our eyes are opened to it. And we can't force our eyes open.
Yeah, we
It's
can't
only
know.
when the light shines on whatever it is that we need to be seeing. And we're not even the ones looking. It's God, it's his awareness.
Exactly. It's the
So
light of God shining. Exactly.
exactly. So it can be
It
right in
is
front of you
us.
and you just would totally not even connect with it. And then the time comes and it's like, wow. And it has so much meaning and
Yeah.
so much
Profound.
yeah.
Well, and I'm crying. I was
And that's when you
literally crying
integrate.
because it
Yeah.
just, yeah. Yes. And that
Hmm.
brings us back to the space of if you're just feeling it and you're just, that's okay. Just breathe because the movement
Yeah.
is happening. God is initiating it. This is the revealing of
Totally.
Christ. And we are not
Yep.
our ego selves, our little identities that we created to survive here, are not responsible for initiating that.
That's right.
The
Yeah.
Spirit has
Hmm.
initiated that. The Spirit is pouring out.
Yeah.
The zeal of the Lord will accomplish this.
Yes, that's
The
right.
kingdom is ever expanding and nothing can stop it.
That's
So
right. And no
you
matter how
just
messy it
let
looks and
go.
how messy you
Yes,
feel,
yes,
which, we have compassion for that because we know what that's like. It's
yeah,
frustrating to be bound by these limitations
definitely.
and feel like we have no time left and we want it to happen right now. And yeah,
Mm,
we have compassion for that, but we
yeah,
have compassion first for ourselves. This is the storehouse that you bring in your tithe, your first fruits. This is where you bring in your first
yes,
offering.
it is
You
so
love
important.
yourself.
Yeah,
You acknowledge, yeah, this is
yes,
tough, this is frustrating, this is annoying, and I'm in grief, I'm in sorrow, I'm in pain.
and
Yes,
I'm gonna
Jesus is
breathe.
victorious. He died on the cross for me. Yes, his blood cleanses my conscience clean so that I don't have to condemn myself because I'm not doing anything bad or wrong by being me. I'm simply having this experience right now, and I can be here, present with it,
And
fully giving
and
myself that love
Father,
and compassion that I need from God.
exactly.
Yeah.
I know for me, I'm sorry, excuse me, speaking over you. Sometimes I get excited and I'm
Same, I
just
do too.
it just
That's
explodes out.
we're the same.
Um, it was such a crucial thing for me to recognize that whatever you call them, mother, father, sometimes I say papa, and I still have parts in me that really need him to be papa.
Yeah.
But we know we cannot contain them in words. They
No.
are love. Like the
Yeah.
closest we can come is to say the beloved or love,
Yeah.
because,
Mm.
and even that, it's not human love. Like we're just
No.
starting to tap into that. But this space of recognizing they never take their gaze off. We are never actually alone.
Yeah.
And then moving that into, for me, this was for me, but maybe someone out there needs to hear this. It's just that moving it into my heart that I don't have to wait till I'm feeling better to come
Yeah.
to them in that space, in the
Hmm.
crunchy, I'm like, okay, I learned to just go, all right, I so I
I
have
love
an
it.
energetic signature of face to face with God that I can feel. I
Hmm.
don't see God's face, but I can feel the space
Hmm.
that I know how to be in face to face. I know what
Yeah.
that feels like. So I go there and then I go, I'm surrendering all of this. You see all of this. You see
Yeah.
every part of it and you love every part. I see every
Yeah.
part and I love every part. And I'm just going to breathe and I'm going to
Yeah.
let it be. And that's been a huge key for me.
Yeah.
That's brought so much freedom because sometimes you feel like I should be doing something, but no, we're just going to
Today we
breathe.
talked about curling up in the, the lap of Mother God and her
Mhm.
comforting you and putting her arms around you, and that's what you're talking about right there, because like we can be in pain and we can be in grief and we can be in sorrow and we can be in misery, but we can still be held. We can still be held. And
Absolutely.
I think we've kind of thought that God was somehow, if we acknowledge God, that somehow, he was going to snap his fingers and take our hurts and boo-boos away. But like I think about, my 2-year-old granddaughter, and knowing what I know and the way that I interact with her, so different than how I was interacted with my mother, or how I interacted with my own children. But I'll hold her. I'll just be there for her. And if she wants a hug, I'll ask her, "Do you want a hug?" Yeah, and then she'll come and I'll hold her. And it's not that she'll stop crying right away, or that she'll stop bleeding right away, or that the hurt will go away right away. But just me being there with her is help, right? That's what God
Exactly.
acknowledged that Adam needed in the very beginning, was help. He needed some kind of help, some kind of uh, assistance, some kind of recognition that he wasn't alone, because he felt so separate, right?
Exactly.
And that's how we
Presence.
feel. We feel so separate when we're in that time of grief and
Mm.
sorrow and misery and pain. We feel like we're alone in it, that there's nobody there who understands that. But God does. God's here with us right here, right now, and we can give that to ourselves. We can be that mother, that comforter to ourselves. Just feeling the warmth of your body responds to that
Mhm.
and lights up. You loosen up, you like your heart opens, and that's what we want. We don't want to be constricted and tight
Exactly.
and tense, because that's not a way to allow healing to come. We're almost in opposition or
Exactly.
resistance to it. But when we're
Exactly.
okay,
And
and
that is
that's
that
yeah,
is key. That is
yeah.
key because I did have a period of time where I was like, okay, so you love me and you're here. How do I feel that? I didn't understand that that was my part flowing with the spirit to love me, to love this body. When a part of me thinks there's a bear on the horizon coming,
Hmm.
I'm the one who's like, it's all right, darling. I have a
Yeah,
shotgun.
yeah,
you know,
yes,
love, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I've got you. I
yeah.
know you see that bear, but I'm right here and I've
Mm-hmm.
got you,
Mm-hmm.
and we are, I just never made that
Mm-hmm.
connection before, but we are the body of Christ
Yeah.
and it starts here. It starts
Yes,
here.
right
And that
here.
that is,
Yep.
if you do not know yet, and in no shame, no condemnation, but
No.
if you do not know how to love yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you cannot actually love anyone else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can't. You're not capable
Mm-hmm.
because while you're still holding yourself in judgment, and here we go, judge not lest you be judged. Like I keep seeing all these scriptures line up with what we're experiencing now. um, we judged ourselves
Yeah.
and stuffed those things because I'm not supposed to feel that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
As long as you're doing that, you're acting like that's separate from you and it's
You're
actually a
like
part of
this. I don't
you.
want to be comforted. Don't
Yeah.
comfort. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong
No,
with me.
just
I'm okay.
back
Yeah.
off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Back
Yeah.
off. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Like,
Yeah.
how many times have we
Yeah.
said that
Let
when
me
we were
help you. What's
upset?
wrong with you? I'll help you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
you know but
Yeah.
you can't look at the person in front of you with compassion if you haven't already experienced it for yourself.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
and
and we are
again,
the
no
eyes, we are the
condemnation.
windows of
That's
the
not
soul
a
that comes through as we
exactly.
look at ourselves and gaze at ourselves with that whole absolute, complete, utter love and compassion and
Yes.
mercy and grace. and
Yeah.
joy and expectation and hope and all of those
Yes.
beautiful, fruits of the spirit. We hold ourselves in that space for ourselves. And as we do that
Exactly.
for ourselves, it's Christ in us doing it. And we build that
Exactly.
connection to Christ more and more and more, where he actually
Or
becomes
our awareness of
more
it. Yes.
tangible. Yeah, where we
Yes.
where we connect in a like you said, you have that signature, that profile, that image, that that grid that you've created where you can look face to face and feel that. And we create that kingdom, that matrix within ourselves. And then when you and I come
Yes.
together, that matrix becomes actually a little bit more tangible. It's the kingdom of heaven being built up by
Yes.
Christ, not by us,
Exactly.
by
And that's what
Christ.
I was going to say. And there is none, like don't go into condemnation or striving when you hear, if you don't love yourself, you can't love
Right.
others. Don't do that,
Absolutely. Yep.
because it doesn't come from striving.
No,
This is not a performance thing. We're not giving you a list of what to do,
no.
not by any means. No, it's just engaging and saying, Father, Mother, Spirit, Jesus,
Yes.
Yeshua, whatever language works for you, coming to them and just saying, I would love to engage this. Show me how to love myself. And as soon
Right.
as you have said that, they're like, we have consent.
Hmm.
Let's go. Because
Yeah.
they're just waiting for that invitation. And then you just allow, again, just allow
Just
all of the
allow and love
initiation. You
yourself
don't
through it
have
all.
to figure anything out
So
because,
it in
yeah.
just in that same vein of getting hung up about, okay, well, if I don't love myself, because I don't love myself, I don't love myself. I see many things about myself that I despise, and yet I love my children, for example, or I love my spouse or whatever. Yes, you
Mhm.
have that love, but there's some motivation when you're in a place of lack or fear that causes you to do things for that person in the name of love, which is a human love,
Yes,
which isn't actually God restful, life-giving,
exactly.
life
Complete love.
spirit love. And so to get to that place where it's like free flowing and the energy is there, no matter how that person behaves towards you, you can still hold them in that space of love. To get there, you have to hold yourself in that space of love first. Because yes, you still love
Exactly.
your children, you want the best for them, but sometimes you will be reacting to their hurts in ways that aren't the most life-giving solutions for them, that aren't the most supportive
Exactly.
to them in their own journey, as Christ waking up inside of them. And so
Exactly.
we get entangled in these things that bring more heaviness to us, bring more burdens to us. So, yes, of course, you love in that way, but there's
Mhm.
more. There's more. And it's
Yes.
actually freer
Yes.
and less heavy, less burdensome
Yes.
love. It's gentle and humble in heart, so that just like Jesus, you can hold
Yes.
them, be with them, and wait for God to glorify you, at the same time.
Exactly.
Just like Jesus said to Mary, he said, "Don't cling to me." Meaning, don't look at the flesh. It's not about the flesh, Mary. You've got what I've got. Don't cling to me. You don't
Hmm.
need my answers. You don't need my help in that way. I'm going
Yes.
back to the Father. You know how to get there. You'll find it.
You have
Yeah.
everything you
You
need
have everything you
inside
need. It's
of
all
you.
here. Yeah.
Exactly. I love that. That was really beautiful.
Mm.
I love that you phrased it like that, because that, yeah, we have human love, and again, no condemnation. And I probably say
Yeah.
that 1,000 times a day because I lived in so much condemnation. So
Same.
I'm still reminding my parts, no
Oh, it's
condemnation. We don't have
good.
to
It's
figure
good to
this out.
remind.
I don't
Yeah.
have to do better. But I,
Yeah.
thought I was loving. I thought I
Mhm.
was loving. And then I started to see, as the Spirit initiated it, how much of that was motivated by fear and
Mhm.
control
Yeah.
and manipulation, and not that. This is the thing. We're just going deeper into love. We're
Yeah.
going deeper into love. And right now, my human mind in this realm of duality can see a difference between God's love and our love.
Mhm.
But I can see it unfolding, or feel it unfolding inside of me right now, that no, it's just our love is like the seed form again. it all starts with him, it all ends with them.
Yeah.
And that's just unfolding. And as the light shines, we go, oh, there's more.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And actually, I can see because I'm experientially living it how much some of my hardest things have actually been a huge catalyst for my growth and development and transformation. So now when I'm watching this child go through something that my mama heart doesn't want them to go through,
Hmm.
I can trust. I
Yeah.
actually don't want to interfere with that process. I can be present, I can love you, I can sit with you. I'm not going to try to fix you or even get you to stop crying.
Yeah.
I'm not all those things that we automatically did, and then they're just stuffing that energy in their body and it's not
There's,
releasing
they're not, and it's
because
not
we're like,
helping
oh,
them.
don't cry, don't cry, don't
Right,
cry.
right, right.
No, for the love, cry.
Yeah.
Go ahead, let it
No,
out,
but
you
that's
know?
exactly it. Because what happens is when they stuff it in, they're not helping themselves and they're also not helping you. But when you allow them that freedom to express just as they are when they're like it, whenever they're like it, without
Yeah,
telling them how to
it's
feel or
all
think or
good.
behave or respond, you can just
Hmm.
hold them. You can just hold them in your, even if they don't want to be hugged by you, you're holding them in your heart in that very same way as
Exactly.
I hold my granddaughter. Just, you got a boo-boo? Do you want a hug? I'm here for you. That's it. That's all that is required because she'll just go, okay, you okay now? Yeah, I'm okay. And that's it. It's done.
Yeah,
It's just
we're
over.
good.
And
Yeah,
so we need to give them that space to go through those difficult things without the
exactly.
attachment to an outcome dictating and controlling how they respond to it. Because when they're healing in that way, we also
Yes,
benefit. We are also more free in our own hearts, the way that we are
exactly.
attached, because we see God move in their lives, even if they don't acknowledge God, even if they don't see
Exactly.
God,
Precisely.
we see them move through that problem and
Yes,
come out the other side and go, wow, look what you did. Look what you just went
exactly.
through. And
They're becoming who they
frees
truly
us too.
are.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's beautiful. And it, this all opens up the more that we learn to trust, which again is initiated by God. But
Hmm.
that space definitely of just honoring their walk in the earth and the fact that they're held right now.
Yep.
Um, that also is a huge key in not hemorrhaging your own energy.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
what you focus on, where you focus, your energy flows. And if
Yeah.
you are focused on making this person feel better and keeping them from experiencing
Mm.
anything we perceive as negative, that's energy that was meant to run this vessel, to keep this life
Yes,
and
that's
this
right.
walk going. And now it's being
Mm.
outsourced
I
or well,
love it.
sent out instead of remaining here. And that ties back into that space where we were talking about learning to love ourselves, and the phrase that was being heard in the spirit, that all that matters right now, this is what matters the most. And that sounds so selfish to our programming,
Mm-hmm.
you know but the reality is that
Mm.
we it goes back to the old put your oxygen mask on before you try to help your child. We've had lots
That's
of
it.
symbols in the realm telling us, no, this is actually essential. You need to stay right here. And the beauty is that doesn't mean that your being here won't help them.
Right.
Actually, you're helping them more.
Mm-hmm.
The more you become who you truly are, the more you simply radiate the love and essence of God in your life. And that is helping them.
That's it.
It might look like a tough circumstance,
Yeah.
but God is with them working that for good.
Yeah,
And it's not our
absolutely.
job. It's not our
It's
job.
not our job.
We're
Yeah.
called to rest.
I think it's so beautiful. And I was just thinking of Patrick McEwen, who does the Buteyko breathing. Beautiful. Google it's awesome. Helping a lot of people with breathing. Um, he said something. that just dropped. It's one of those things like you were talking about where, I've heard it before, and I've tried to attain it. I've tried to get the nuance out of it and bring it home, but he said it and it was just the most matter of fact thing, and it just dropped into me for some reason. And that this actually feels really good to just be right here. And it was like, oh my goodness, it does feel good.
It is, oh my
Wow.
goodness,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Can
because
I
this
say
is
something
home.
on
This
that?
is home. This is where the
Yeah.
kingdom is. This is the temple of the Holy Spirit, and it just feels so good to be
Well,
right here.
and speaking as one who used shifting my focus or stepping into heaven, whatever language we've heard, to escape here,
Yep.
it's been a long process, but what I have learned is this right here is the kingdom, the eternity entry point in this realm.
Yeah.
Eternal now, how we
That's it.
enter it in this realm is right
Yeah.
here. And that's
Yeah.
why it feels so good. It feels, now that I've learned this and experienced this, it feels just as good as when I was shifting into
Hmm.
heaven and experiencing love that way. And I needed to do that. That was
That's beautiful
essential
too.
to
Yeah.
my process. Yeah. But now I have that here in this moment.
Yeah.
Well,
You're
and
aware of
we,
what's available to
yes,
you in the land of the living here.
exactly.
Yeah. A little bit more than
Exactly.
what you were before. Yeah.
And becoming more and more aware that I remain in the now, in eternity, and time is just flowing through me.
Yeah.
And that's been a shift. Oh my goodness. So, yeah,
Yeah.
that's one
What
of
it
those energetic,
is, yeah,
you
no,
kind
because
of,
there's
I
so
don't
many
have
good
words.
things.
I
So many
don't
good
have
things.
words.
But the feeling is so good because it's like a tree with deep roots, but it's still young enough
Yeah,
to push its roots down even deeper into that dark,
exactly. Oh,
nourishing, and you're just growing and getting bigger, and your branches are going out, and you're just bearing all this fruit, and people are enjoying it, and you're like, oh, I am the tree of life.
exactly.
Wow,
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's
exactly.
such a beautiful
Exactly.
feeling.
Oh,
And yeah,
huh.
so let those
Yeah.
roots go deep. Let those roots go deep. I need to
Yeah.
get going because my other
I
thing has
know.
started. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
But
No worries.
yeah,
No worries.
guys, if
All
you're watching
right.
and you want to join our community, it's the Secret Garden, and we meet for breath work and chat and taps, and we do lots of fun stuff. Secret Garden, I think there's a link, right, on the
I
YouTube
will post
somewhere.
the
Okay.
link. I will probably put it down in the comments because we
Okay.
haven't been able to put it in the description yet, but people can
Okay.
find it there.
Yeah,
Yep.
perfect. Okay. Mwah. We
All
love
right.
you, and reach out. Okay. Bye, Janine. Love you.
Bye.